Today is Saturday, February 27th, 2016, and this is the Bunny Slippers Reveal Job Seekers Call-In Show, presented by Evil Bunny Consulting. I'm your host, Tyrone Griffin, and if it's 3 p.m. and you have on your bunny slippers, you are not looking for a job. Welcome, first-time and returning listeners. In this show, we discuss strategies and tactics of job search, staying motivated, and dealing with career transition. For more tips, resources, daily motivations, and to listen to archive shows, go to the website bunnyslippersreveal.com. They will also find links to the show's Facebook page, our Twitter handle, and our YouTube channel. If you're listening live, you can call in with questions at 347-202-0929. Again, that number is 347-202-0929. And now a word from our sponsors. Evil Bunny Consulting is the alternative to a job placement, to expensive outplacement, They give company-sponsored job search workshops as well as a one-on-one search boot camp. For more information, go to bunnyslippersreveal.com. Resume Edit is the low-cost, high-quality resume writing company of certified resume writers starting at $35. You can find them online at resume4edit.com or call 404-860-2473. Be sure to tell them you heard about them on the Bunny Slippers Reveal Job Seekers podcast. Let 3dresumes.net turn your resume into a web page with a customized domain for 12 months for only $30. Help hiring managers and recruiters find you, make your resume available 24/7, and get a professional email address just for your job search. You can see my online resume at tyronegriffin.com, and for more information on how to get your own, go to 3dresumes.net. If you're thinking or about to look for a job in today's world, you will find a new reality in the job search process. The world has changed. Job search today is much more complicated than 5 years ago. Volumes of resumes, more applicant screening systems, depersonalized applications, panel interviews, team hiring, long complicated applications, branding and social media. Yes, the world has changed. But have you? Are you still trying yesterday's approach? Why struggle and miss out on today's opportunity? Career Oyster is here to help. Great coaches, the latest resources, unique strategies personally tailored to your job search. Find out the new reality and how you can prevent costly mistakes. To register for a free 45-minute private session with head coach Howard Caddy, go to careeroyster.com. Find out the facts now. You'll be glad you did. Remember their motto, the world is your oyster, be the pearl. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another week. I hope you all had a great, productive, and effective job search week. For the newcomers, we do this show every week, hopefully usually at 10 o'clock, sometimes earlier, sometimes later, depending on my schedule. This time we're doing it at 10 o'clock. And every month, this year we have a theme for every month. So this month's theme was your network. Remember last week we talked about nurturing your network. Okay? And we did before that, we had a week off. Took a week off. So we only did two shows this month. But this week, the topic, this is the last one on network for a while, is called Grow Your Network. So let's start at the beginning. I mentioned last week that your network you should not look at your network as a spider web with you in the center. That's the selfish, that's the way that ideally, amateurs would think of their network. I'm in the center of the universe. Who was it? Copernicus and all those guys talked about way back when that the Earth was the center of the universe. And then we found out, no, we're just one of several planets, 8 planets, Pluto, and we're part of something bigger is my point. Your network is part of, to have an effective network, you've got to be part of something bigger. If you are expecting to be in the middle, if you are paying everybody in your sphere, well, yeah, you can be the center of your network because you're paying everybody. But understand this, a true network is not people you're paying. There are people that want to help you for whatever reason, usually not money. There's no incentive to it. Usually the best networks, in my opinion, the best network are people who want to help you because they see you working hard and trying to achieve. So they want to help, and people will help you if they see you out shoveling by yourself. Somebody will stop and help you sometimes if you got another shovel there. But my point is that's the kind of network you want to build, one that helps you because they want to help you, not because they're obligated to help you. So unless you have a network or you're paying everybody, again, you won't be in the center of that network. And if you walk into it thinking that, yes, I'm the center of the world, you will find yourself to be in a very lonely place. So instead of that spider web, think of your network as a lattice like this. Hard to show you, but here's your point. There's another point. There's points all over the place, and you're all interconnected with each other. So that's the first thing, is understand that. I mentioned that last week. I wanted to repeat that because to grow your network, you got to look at it like that. You got to look at it as, I'm a part of something bigger. Down here in the ATL, we have, one of the benefits we have here is we have a very strong, I guess it's a benefit and it's sad, but we have a very strong job networking community. There are meetings in and around Atlanta, job networking meetings every day of the month. And I mean, not just one, there are multiples. There are some days there may be 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 different meetings at different places around Atlanta. Okay, we're blessed, fortunate. I'm not bragging about it because that's not something you brag about. I'm glad we have it. I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm glad in some small way, hopefully, that this show is a part of that thriving network. But we have that here. But none of those, there are some meetings that are more well known than others, but none of them have the world just rotating around them only. Each of them is a part of that network. So there's no one meeting here we say you just go to that meeting and that's it. You know, there are, again, meetings you can go to every day. I did that way back when I was in transition. First time, yeah, the big time, I call it. I went, me and my job networking friends, we all went to for 2 weeks, I think it was. We went to a meeting every day, Monday through Friday. We went to a job networking meeting. And I'll tell you something. By the end of that 2 weeks, we were so tired of job networking meetings. We were done. We were tired of them. That's the only thing I said. We were just tired of those meetings. And it sucked. It just sucked. But we had to do that. And I encourage people to do that. I encourage you to go to a lot of meetings, to get tired of them. Because once you get tired of the meetings, then you can think rationally as far as, okay, what is it I want out of this meeting? And why am I going to this meeting versus that meeting? Okay. Once you've gone to a lot and got burnt out, it's like, I guess if somebody's starving and you put a bunch of food in front of them and they just pig out and just, eat it all up. And then once they're done, okay, now let me look and see what's on the table, so. But anyway, so like I said, we got a really strong network down here. So you want to be part of something bigger. Person I had here on the show several times, Steve Beacham, he made a really good comment. He made the point that you don't go out and ask what people can do for you. You ask, what can you do for somebody? That's the number one way to grow your network, is do for others. Let me take you back and talk about growing your network, and talk about how I grew my network. When I was in transition, when I found myself in transition, I had, I believe it was 46 or 50 LinkedIn connections. I had a LinkedIn account, like most people. You have a LinkedIn account because you set it up because you heard about it, but you never really do anything with it. It's just there. I found myself in transition and I had literally, about 50 contacts. And these are 50 people who, a few of them I hadn't met, people that reached out for a connection, and I accepted it. All kinds of different ways I got those connections. After I got into transition and I started understanding the game, I kind of, and this, I don't mean this as an insult, but I kind of became a LinkedIn slut. I mean, I would link to anybody who asked. I was easy. I know, I'm sorry, but that was how it was in my head. But I grew my network. Now, there are people that have different perspectives on that. There are some people who will not accept a link to someone unless they meet that person personally. I'm not saying that's wrong. That's just how they choose to have their network. Some people like a very closed network of close friends, and I don't fault that at all. If that's what you want to do, that's what you do. I look at my network differently. I accepted connections to everybody. The only people I don't accept connections to, and I've only done this a few times, I don't get that many, are people who are obviously trying to sell me something, and that may sound bad, but I'll look at your profile sometimes, and there are some people who are they're trying to promote their business. I don't want to be sold to. I look at my network, my LinkedIn network. Oops, sorry. I looked at my LinkedIn network as a way for me to help people. So I look at it as I'm trying to help others. So I always try to, I will link it to anybody pretty much to try to help them. So that was one way. It's kind of a snowball effect. Once you start linking in and accepting people, it's amazing how other people find you. But let me go back to when I was in transition and before I started doing the podcast, I started doing the speaking engagements. And the name of this series was always Bunny Slippers Are Evil. And I came up with probably 4 or 5 or 6 different presentations I did. And it was, it was crazy. I was still looking for a job, but I would go to these networking events and I would be the keynote speaker. And I wouldn't talk about, okay, here's how you go look for a job. I didn't talk about those things. I didn't talk about, how to build your business cards, anything tactical about job search. I didn't talk about. That wasn't what my intent was. I talked about the things that people were feeling. I talked about the things that, when you see somebody at a networking event and you see them and everybody's happy and proud and whatever else, and then you realize a lot of, some of these people at least are going home and crying in their cars because they don't have a job. They can't feed their family. There are people like that, but nobody was talking about it. So that's what I started talking about. So I ended up going to I've spoken at several networking events. I've been asked to speak. And as much as I could, I often accepted. That didn't make sense to my outplacement advisor because they said, you're not trying to find a job, you're just walking around speaking. And what I explained to them was, I'm just trying to survive transition. Everybody has their own way of doing it. This is my way of dealing with it. Because transition sucks. We can sugarcoat it all we want. It sucks. Okay. But anyway, so I started doing the shows, and I'm not saying this is how you do it. Everybody, you have your own way, but I just want to explain to you how I did it. I started doing the stand-up presentations, the keynote presentations at different shows, at different networking events, and people started linking in and connecting to me, so I started growing. And my original goal was to get past the 500 connection mark because that's what it stopped showing how many, and it just says 500 plus. So my goal was to get to 501. So I was trying to grow my network. But my intent with growing my network was ultimately I wanted to try to get people that could help me, but I wanted to help everybody I could. Why? God told me, take care of my kids, I'll take care of you. So that's the only excuse, and I don't say that as a cop-out. That's the only thing I could think of because it makes no sense for somebody in transition to be out trying to help other people in transition as much as I think I was trying to do. The only excuse I can give, and don't get me wrong, I wasn't sitting independently wealthy sitting on a stockpile of cash. It wasn't like that at all. I was killing myself trying to get, excuse me, sorry, no, not gonna have a yawning thing this weekend, but I was killing myself trying to find a job. But my interactions with people, talking to people, it helped me get through. Because transition is twofold, and we talked about that, and I will probably talk about it again. It's looking for a job, but it's also dealing with transition, dealing with being unemployed, the mental and the anguish around that. So it's twofold. But so when I started doing a podcast, I started getting, people started coming to the podcast and listening to it and, talking about it and whatever. And I started sending more LinkedIn requests to me. And what I try to do, if somebody reaches out to me on LinkedIn and says, "Hey, I'm trying to get a job here. I see you have somebody in your network that works there or that knows this person. Can you do an introduction?" I am more than happy to do introductions for people. I am more than happy. That's what I feel like my network was built for me to introduce party A to party B. So that's primarily what I use my LinkedIn network for. I'm trying to help other people, but I remember what Steve Beacham said. You try to help other people, and people will come back and people say, "What can I do for you?" And I have been helped in so many ways in the different times I've been in transition. And even when I'm not in transition, I've been helped so many ways. So I just try to help as many people as I can. I'm not sitting here bragging and saying, "I've helped hundreds of thousands of people." I don't know how many people I've helped. I really don't know, and I don't care. All I care about is that I keep trying to help people. That might seem kind of backward and convoluted to you, but I could feel like I helped somebody, and that person could feel like I didn't help. Or that person could feel like I helped them immensely, and I could feel like I didn't do anything. So I don't get caught up in that aspect of it. I just say, "Hey, I'm trying to help as many people as I can. As God gives me strength, and desire, and wisdom to keep doing, and keep doing it. I'm just trying to help as many people as I can." But that's how I grew my network, and that's how I try to continue to grow it, by trying to help as many people as I can. I tell people, my network is totally open. If you see somebody in my network, that's what LinkedIn is about, in my opinion. It's about connecting people from here, this person with this person through this person. If there's somebody in my network, and I got over, I think it's about 2,500 contacts now, but my second level is something like 47 million or something ridiculous like that, the way LinkedIn counts. But if there's somebody, I've done a few introductions. I don't do them often because people don't ask that often. But if somebody sees someone in my network that they would like to be introduced to, and don't sugarcoat it. Don't friend me or ask for a invite because you think you think my profile is awesome, and then like you wait 2 days and then try to hit me up for an introduction. Tell me the truth. I've been there, people. Ain't no shame in it. I've been there. I've been there where you can't find a job when you're trying to connect with somebody. I've been there. So I understand. Just say, "Hey, I'm trying to connect to this person. They're in your network. Can you help do an introduction for me?" We need to talk about one of the things, the ways of using LinkedIn to get introduced to people, to connect with people. One way definitely is to find a common connection. Another way is to look at that person's profile and find out what groups they're in, and then join those groups. Once you're in the group, you can connect to anybody in the group free. So think about, you join a group with 5 or 10,000 members. That's 5 or 10,000 people right off the bat that you can interact with, without paying LinkedIn. And I think LinkedIn is a great product, but I also know that when you're in transition, you ain't got no money. And if you got money, you're pinching your pennies till they scream. So that's one thing. That's one way. But anyway, so when I grew my network, as I was saying, I started with the speaking engagements. Then I went to the podcast. All this stuff I do because I'm trying to help people. As a result of that, my network has grown. I ran into someone at work this past week who remembers me from years ago. And this person also would say, "Hey, you still doing that podcast thing?" Yes, I am. I ran into somebody else at work maybe a month ago. Same thing, where they were like, "I remember you from transition, from going to this meeting or that meeting, and you talked about stuff." So my goal is to grow my network, specifically for the purpose of allowing people to connect with each other. That's it. I try to help everybody. If you don't want to be part of my network, I respect that. But I just tell you right up front, I'm trying to build my network so that if I find myself in transition again, then hopefully I'll have a lot of people I can call on to help me. This is like money in the bank. I'm putting it in the bank now so that in the future sometime, if I ever find myself having to take it out, I'll have some money in there. But that's how I built my network. That was my story. That was how I did my thing. But do you want to grow your network? I mentioned earlier about the networking events down here in Atlanta. you may not have the level of the number, volume of networking events in your local area that we do here. What can you do about that? Well, you can start your own. Okay. You can start a meeting and you can do it just about anywhere. You know, you can do it in a diner. You can do it wherever. You can start a networking meeting anywhere. We are also blessed down here that we have a lot of churches and some businesses. Hotel Equities is one I mention all the time. I cannot thank them enough for the life lessons session that they allow us to hold every Wednesday. Hotel Equities, if you need anything, call that company. No, they manage hotels, but they're great people. I met the owner. I think I met the owner, but I met the people working there, and they are all great people. So I give them a free plug. They do hotel management. I have nothing to do with that, but I give them a free plug because they open their doors to job seekers. Let them let us hold a workshop in their facilities, and they pay for lunch. Can't beat that. You cannot beat that. But anyway, we're fortunate down here. But if you don't have that in wherever you are, start your own. Chances are there are job seekers everywhere. And if there's no network in your area, they're sitting around doing the same thing you're doing, sitting around on their own, trying to do things on their own with no network. Get together, put an ad in the paper if you got to. Like, why should I do that? I'm trying to find a job. Because these people can help you find jobs. Because these people used to work at places you might want to get into, and they know people there. People have this idea that, I'm only going to hang around employed people. Well, you do that. You just hang around employed people and see how that works for you. Why do I say that? Because if I hang around bankers, they're not going to give me money just because they're bankers and I'm hanging around. Okay. If you want to learn wisdom about finances, you got to talk to bankers. You got to talk to retired people who aren't in the workforce anymore. You really want to learn about things. Okay. And just like if you really want to look for a job seriously, it's not just the people with jobs, because just because they have jobs does not mean that they're going to give you one. If you really want to do your job search, you're about networking with people who work these places, people who used to work in these places, and people that you might be able to help. And helping somebody may be as simple as reviewing their resume, giving a suggestion or a tip on their business card, okay? Looking at their marketing plan. It might be that simple, okay? It might be that simple, okay? And sometimes you would be surprised how much the little things can help people. So you help somebody a little bit and all of a sudden it comes back 10, 15, 20 fold, okay? So, I got totally off track there. But go to the networking events. If you can go to them, go. If you cannot go, build your own. Okay, and encourage people to come. Okay, and what's the agenda? The agenda is a bunch of people who need jobs talking about how they can help each other. And this mustache, I gotta trim this thing. It's my nose. That's what it is. It's people who need jobs sitting around talking to each other about how they can help each other. Okay. So, but most important thing about networking, growing your network, be the kind of person that people want to help. What I mean by that? You're not a jerk. What's the definition of a jerk? It's like porn. We don't know what it is, but we know it when we see it. Okay. Don't be a jerk. Don't be selfish. Don't be perceived to be selfish, because I guarantee you, and I'm telling you this from experience, I have sat in networking events with a table full of people, and there was one person at that table that they were all about themselves. They weren't about trying to help anybody else. They were all about themselves. And we made an unconscious decision, the whole table, that nobody would help him. This person, I forgot what their industry was, but I think they were in sales, I'm not sure. But the point is, everybody at that table who they could have made an ally, we were all against them. And I talked to a few people about it later, and we all came to, no, actually we talked about it, at the table, because he got up and left and went to go and brown nose another table. And we talked about it, and everybody had agreed, we're not going to help them, And, they might think that that's unfair. Well, you know what? If you're going to be selfish, we'll be selfish too. That's the reality of job search. If you put yourself out there and try to help people, trust me, people will help you as much as they can. you'll get a call at 5 or 6 o'clock one day or 8 o'clock from people who say, hey, I just heard about this job, call this person. Okay, you'll get those calls if you try to help other people. So you grow your network by giving of yourself. That's how you grow your network. Okay, and keep a track of names and addresses. But that's how you grow your network. Okay? You be good. Try to be part of the bigger whole pie. Okay, try to do for others first. Try to be a good person. Try to be somebody that people want to help. Okay. Try to be somebody that, that your mother can be proud of. Be somebody that you can be proud of. When I went through transition, my big time, when I was in for 15 months, 5 days, 3 hours, 27 minutes, but who's counting? When I was there, it was crazy. I still do sometimes have nightmares about how it was, because it wasn't, again, as I said earlier today, job search is not just the tactics of looking for a job. Job search is also the mindset that you have. Okay, having the right mindset, and you can't always have the right mindset. A friend who, people get depressed. That's part of it. Krispy Kreme donuts are the best antidepressant in the world. Okay. I know people who saw that hot light go on and they made a U-turn to go back to Krispy Kreme, and they sat there in their car with a bucket of donuts and they just blah, 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 blah. And then they finished and they felt like crap because they'd eaten 6 donuts. Okay, they felt terrible. But while they were eating them, it was good. That's what job search is. That's you're dealing with so much, and then your dog gets sick, okay, or your kids get sick, or your spouse gets sick, or you get sick. On top of everything else you're dealing with. That's what job search is. So anyway, back to the topic. There's ways to grow your network, but the biggest way is do unto others and be a good person. Be somebody people want to help. Ooh, excuse me. I'm so sorry. I was up 5 this morning doing my weekly walks. But be somebody people want to help. Be somebody who people want to hire. And the way you be that is to get your name out there. And the way you get your name out there is try to help people. Because rest assured, you help enough people that somebody's going to get hired. And they're going to start at work. And they're going to remember you when a position shows up. They say, hey, that's something that Tyrone might be able to fit. Let me give him a call. Yes, I've gotten those calls from people who I talked to. The job I'm in now, let me tell you something. I hadn't talked to the recruiter in 5 years. And out of the blue, he calls me. Okay? Because I put a nice impression on him back then. So he called me about this job. Greatest, and I cannot be, my nose itches, man, this sucks. But I cannot be happier with the opportunity he presented to me. Okay, so again, be a good person. Try to help others. And that's how you expand your network. Okay? Whew. Oh, I am sorry, people. I got a slight headache, and I'm having a good time. Anyway, thanks for listening. If you are listening on the website, feel free to subscribe to this podcast in iTunes. And if you like the show, please leave feedback so others can find the show, and I truly appreciate it. If you have a suggestion for a topic you would like me to cover in either the podcast or a 1-minute bunny tip, I know that's like a 4-letter word for people who've been waiting for the next one. I'm sorry, I'm going to get to it soon. But if you have a suggestion, send it to me at Tyrone@bunnyslippersofevil.com. When you land, please don't forget us. Please support this show by visiting our Cafe Press store and buying a t-shirt, a water bottle, a coffee mug, a clock, or a sweatshirt, so you will have a memento of your time in transition. I don't want you to forget this time, people. As crazy, as hard as it is, I don't want you to forget it. Because as soon as you do, you set yourself up for being back here again. As soon as you forget what the pain felt like, you start to tell yourself, well, it's not that bad. Okay? It's not that bad. I can deal with it. You don't want to deal with it. So keep your network strong. Keep it open. When you move from a position to position or whatever, keep your network, stay active in it. Not as much as you would be when you were job searching, but the worst feeling in the world is you help somebody out, they land somewhere and you never hear from them again, and then 2 years later, out of the blue, they're looking for a job, and then they call you, and you're like your best buddy. So anyway, with that, I'm going to end the show. Next month, I think we're going to do the documents that you need for job search. Everybody have a good week. Take care, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.